Good morning, everybody. I hope you have your cup of coffee or your wine or popcorn from some of those who commented yesterday about today's video. I'm here with I was going to say one of my favorites, but I can't say that because they're all my favorites. But I'm here with Curt, Runyan, who I have quite a long history with. And so just like all the other episodes, I'm going to start from how I met them, why I kind of thought they would do good, or how we came to work together at Mountain Valley Realty, and then kind of let them give you a feel for their personality and background and what they do different for their clients. So, I have known Curt since 2004. I was 19 years old and a waitress at Bill's Place in Lawrenceville, and he used to come in with a group of guys who, in his past, he helped with their auction business. And to make a long story short, I just got to know him then. And he was always, what's the word?
Be careful.
I know. I put a lot of thought into this whole interview with Curt because we are also good friends. And like I said, I've known him for a very long time. And I don't want to put my foot in my mouth or say too much or too little. So, Curt is very humorous most of the time. Is that a good word?
That works. It's hard for me to be serious.
Yeah. And, a lot of people, I think, have always thought they know Curt. And I've always felt like I knew a different version of him. I don't know. I'm more of a different personal level, and we've always joked around a lot over the years. But he's the kind of guy that if I ever needed anything, literally would be there and give me the shirt off of his back since then. And even when I didn't really know you very much, you were always like that. So we kept in touch over the years. At one point, I had him and his wife's house listed, and I got to see a whole different side of Curt at that point.
Action.
Yeah. Curt is, he is very efficient and a little OCD, but it's very good. And it reminds me, like, everybody has their own unique qualities, and I think of it even with, like, my kids. So, like, Jeffy, for instance, he's very opinionated, and he's OCD, but he has a great personality and is funny, and you hope that all the things that your kids get in trouble for as a child turn into being their strongest assets someday. And not that there's any bad assets that Curt has, but everybody brings something different to the table, and I think that he has a lot of unique abilities that most people do not. So with all of that being said, tell us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the industry and all that.
Well, I want to start out by just saying that I was looking forward to this throughout the night. Some of my wisecracker friends that made comments on Chris's post warning people of this video today. I want to shout out to Sabrina, who keeps me looking good all the time with her fine skills as a beautician, I suppose. And Carolyn, I hope you are drinking your wine and eating your popcorn. Get some clothes on. My word, girl. So yeah, anyway, thanks for all that, all those comments. What did you ask me? How did I get?
So how long have you been selling real estate and in the industry, which they're kind of one and the same?
It's been a little over 2 years now, I believe, pushing 2.5. Prior to that, I was in healthcare forever. I worked at the hospital. Started there right out of high school in the housekeeping department. Found myself getting in trouble in housekeeping because my boss would always find me upstairs in a patient's room talking to them, visiting, keeping somebody company. So one day, Gloria Clark approached me and asked me if I'd be interested in working on the mental health unit. They needed more males up there at that time, and so I thought that was a great opportunity. So I went to nursing school eventually, got my nursing license, and altogether, I was at the hospital just about 32 years, I guess.
Hmm.
So I thought that was a great opportunity. So I went to nursing school eventually, got my nursing license, and altogether I was at the hospital just about 32 years, I guess. 32 years.
That's almost my whole life.
I was raised at the hospital because my mom worked there, so I went there after school every day. And honestly thought I would retire from there. That was my world. It was the only life I really knew, and that was my identity. And then one day they pulled the rug out from under all of us and closed down the mental health unit, and I was honestly quite lost. I went to Westfield and worked for a couple of years in a drug rehab. Even drove around in the big brown box and delivered UPS packages during the Christmas season. And one day you called me, I called you, we ran into one another or something, and you said, why don't you go get your real estate license? So I signed up for a real estate class over at Mansfield, got through that, took my test and passed it the first time, and I didn't even call my wife and tell her about it. Where did I go? Scranton?
Yeah.
Scranton, I guess. And I drove 80 miles an hour all the way back to Wellsboro, went directly to Chris's house, called her. I said, are you home? And she thought I was going to give her hell about, I think you had my house listed then.
Mm-hmm. I did.
And you were thinking, oh, Jesus, he's going to come and chew me out about something regarding his listing.
And he had never been to my house before at that point.
And so I went right to Chris's house and met her on the porch and showed her my certificate that I had passed, and the rest is history. I tried to do this part-time because I was still working in Westfield then, and honestly part-time just wasn't cutting it. I mean, if you're going to sell real estate, I honestly believe it's a full-time job. I'd be over there at work trying to do my things there, and my phone would be ringing all the time, people setting up showings and asking questions, and there just was not enough time in my day. And I don't see how anybody does it part-time.
Yeah.
My phone starts ringing at 6 o'clock in the morning with real estate, and getting text messages at 10 o'clock at night.
I thought you were going to say at 5 o'clock in the morning.
There was this incident. Somebody wanted to remind us of a 5 a.m. Yeah, at 5 a.m. that we had a 8:30 office meeting. So what I did, and why you're getting those early morning things, I put you on auto message, got in there and programmed for like 7 days ahead that you get a message at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, true story. I do, and I didn't even know you could do that with your phone, so I'll keep that in mind too.
So yeah, so that's a little bit of my work history. Yeah, I've lived in Wellsboro all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Got two great kids and a wife who works all the time. She's got a pretty good work ethic. My son Tanner, he is going to Mansfield in the nursing program and hopefully makes it through that. He's a good kid. And Skylar, she's brilliant. She's a straight A student and a good kid.
Quite creative and artistic.
Yes, she's very creative.
Yeah.
She looks like me and acts like her mother.
So, when I called you, what made you decide to do it? Like, what intrigued you? And at the time, I don't know, like, why I even thought of it. I think just knowing how you are very neat and organized in particular, and I don't know, there was just something about it. And at the time, like, I can remember telling people, and they're like, oh, he would never do that. Like, really? Why would he do that? Like, and I'm like, no, there's something, I know, like, there's something, I just had a feeling that you'd be good at it. So what's your side of that?
I think I've always been in the people industry, obviously working at the hospital and rehab, and UPS is a service type of job dealing with folks, and so I feel that was I fit in well that way. Mm-hmm. And like I say, I've always lived in the area and knew the area fairly well, and I just thought I could do this.
Yeah.
I know some other agents and thought, geez, if they can pull it off, why can't I?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
And I think I've been fairly successful at it. I did really well my first year, mm-hmm. So you'll tell me. I had no idea what to expect because it's not something I'd ever done before, and then I more than doubled that my second year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I make everybody set goals every year, and sometimes they look at me like, yeah, right. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. You write it down. I'm a firm believer with everything that I've done and I do that, if you write it down, somehow, whether it's your brain or something, like it somehow programs you to always kind of have that lingering in the back of your mind and working towards it. And, we almost forget about it. When we do our annual reviews, we do that. And then by August, we kind of regroup and figure out whether we've made it yet or how far we need to before end of the year to do it. And a lot of the time, everybody's made their goals by August and September, which is really cool. And Curt is the first one here every morning, like literally. Like he is at the office probably at 6 o'clock most mornings. Some mornings he texts us pictures of him here working while half of us are still sleeping probably. And a lot of times he's the last one here at night that swings through just to check on everything again. So he's very dutiful that way. So why do you... I'm the one that asked you to join real estate. Had you ever considered it before, or what made you want to come work here?
No, I never considered it before because, like I said, I thought I'd be a lifer at the hospital.
Yeah.
That was my identity. Again, grew up there, thought I'd retire from there, and probably end up being a volunteer there, pushing people around in the wheelchairs to their X-ray appointments and things like that.
I thought you were going to say patient.
I'll end up a patient somewhere in the system, probably at the Green Home or Broad Acres, where Nancy threatens to stick me as I grow older.
Yeah.
But now, knowing you and being friends with you, I know you won't let that happen. You'll take care of me somehow.
Yeah. So Curt was actually the first guy that came to work here, and I don't know if there was just, it was just women since I have bought it, and Mom had one or two, like probably the first year we were open, and they were just part-time and never really did it full-time. So I like to hear your spin on that and how you handle working with an office full of women before Brandon came along.
I honestly didn't mind. I've always been in industries where they were mostly all women, and any boss that I've had has been female, and so that wasn't a big adjustment. Although I will say lunchtime conversations here are much more interesting than they ever were at the hospital. So it's entertaining.
Yeah, we have a very interesting group of individuals, that's for sure. So, what do you think your secret powers are? What makes you different, and how you can service and help the public with their real estate needs different than other people?
I don't know if I have any secret powers. If I did, I wouldn't tell you because it wouldn't be secret anymore. But I'm honest. I feel that I've always been honest. I am driven. Like you say, I'm here in the morning where I feel I get most of my paperwork and my thinking done before everyone else gets here, gets me organized for the day, and I can go off on my showings and listing appointments and things like that. I have a lot of determination because if you're not selling houses, you're not making money.
Right.
That was one of the hardest things for me to adjust to. I was used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, and with real estate, as anybody in it knows, you don't make any money unless you sell a house.
Right.
Not even a nickel.
Right. No pun intended.
So anyway, I had to learn how to budget differently, and you just appreciate things a lot more when you have to plan ahead, I think.
Right.
But I'll work hard for my customers, whether you're listing your house or looking for a house. I'm always looking at the new listings and thinking, God, does that property fit anybody on my list? And I'll email it to you when we get things set up for showings. I have 5 this morning when we're done with this little interview. So I don't know, just...
Yeah. You're not afraid to work 7 days a week if you have to?
You have to.
Yeah.
It's hard to plan a weekend off, and I honestly feel bad if I do go away. Nance and I went away this past weekend, and I had people, wanting to set things up for the weekend. Because, if you don't do it and you don't take time for them,
Right.
there's 70 some other realtors in this area that they can pick up the phone and possibly connect with. So
Right.
you don't want to let people get away.
Right.
And so you're going to do the best you can for those folks.
Yeah.
That's what I feel I can bring to the game.
Yeah. Well, you should tell everybody your contact info and how they can get a hold of you.
Well, you can get a hold of me right here at Mountain Valley Realty at the office, 570-723-8484, or on my cell phone at 570-439-2752. If it's later at night or first thing in the morning, call Chris. You know her contact information, and she can get a hold of me.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up and tell everybody?
No, I'm good. Carolyn, I hope the popcorn was good and you saved me some wine for later on.
Yeah. Well, it's been a lot of fun. This was episode 4 of How Did We Get Here, and we're going to keep it going. Each week we're going to be interviewing everybody that works here basically, and then eventually I think we're even going to get Jeremy to do it at some point.
That'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. It should be interesting. I don't know how we can fit everything into 10 or 12 minutes, but we'll see. But everybody, please keep Curt in mind.